Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here. It is Saturday morning. The great thing about live streaming on a Saturday morning is that the teenagers are all sleeping, so I have a quiet space. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about snow photography. I loved all of your ideas for the chalkboard, and I'm just going to rotate them, or I may buy a second chalkboard or third or fourth, but yeah, so today we're going to talk about winter tips for snow photography, and we're specifically going to get into just taking care of your gear when you're out in the snow, exposure tips to get a nice white scene, and then we'll just quickly look at editing for white balance and removing footprints. So good morning. Good morning, Graham from Wales, Tiago, George, Tim, Bob, Stephen. Hi, guys. This is so amazing. It looks like we are everywhere, all over the world this morning. So Stephen is from South Australia, and Graham's from Wales, Tiago, and George. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay, and we can get started. So good morning, Lisa Marie. Good morning, Steve, Alan. It's so great to have you here. Okay. So let's start with on location. Hi, Rick. Oh, he's from Hamilton. That's so cool. We're in the same city. Good morning, Margaret Ann. All right. So I just uploaded a video this past week, and you may or may not have seen it, but it is in the snow. So let me just show you a clip from that video. Second, should be playing.
Am I doing it?
Nice job. Okay, so this was a very...
It's awesome!
All right.
I always knew you were an angel.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Okay, so that was a very, very white scene. We were out at Bayfront Park, and morning, Karen. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. That's so good. So, oh yeah. Okay, so Tim said that he's having a little trouble with syncing, but it's all good now, so great. This is we were at Bayfront Park, and it was a snowstorm that we had last Saturday, and we had a great time in the snow. But you may notice when you are doing snow photography or even snow videography that your camera makes the pictures dark. And this is because with the camera's metering, it wants to make the scene a middle gray. So it's metering your scene with all the snow, and it's seeing lots and lots of bright, and it's making it middle gray. So that's why when you look at home, you might look at your snow pictures and think, oh, they're really dark, or this isn't quite what I pictured when I took the picture. So even with videography, like that clip that I showed you, I had to adjust the white balance and the brightness of the video to make it look white again. So let's talk about how we can fix that up. So there's two ways. You can either fix it up on location while you're taking the picture, or afterwards when you're in post-production and editing your photo to give the final image. So Debbie, hi Debbie, hi Carol, and Rams and David. Oh, cool. Good morning again, everyone. If you have any questions, I'll try to catch them as I go. But yeah, if I miss it, I apologize. I'll try to include it either in the comments or in a follow-up video. Okay, sounds good. Good morning, Roy. Good morning, Steve. Okay, so let's start with on location. There's two ways to deal with this middle gray syndrome that the camera gives you. You can either increase your exposure or just do the regular settings that you would normally do and then increase your exposure compensation. So to increase your exposure, you can, if you're on manual exposure, you can increase your ISO. You can lower your aperture number. So if you're on f8, you could go down to f6.7. You can lower your shutter speed, so get a slower shutter speed. This is if you're in manual, just change one of those. You should get a brighter exposure. Or you can, I usually shoot in aperture priority mode, and I like that. I like to be able to just choose my aperture and let the camera choose the other settings that, I just noticed that Yen said he loves my lamp. So thank you very much. Yeah, so if I am in aperture priority mode and say I have my shutter speed, my aperture, and my ISO all picked out, but I still want a brighter scene, then I can go to my exposure compensation and just increase that. And let me just show you. This is what the exposure compensation probably looks like on your camera if you have it. So that will let you go up or down in your exposure without changing your settings. So on location, you can do these to increase the exposure, which will make the scene brighter, and you will have whiter snow. However, I must caution you, if you do that, to be very, very careful not to blow out your highlights. Hi from Norway, Leaf, and everyone. Oh, Florida. Hi, Scott. Okay, if you have your exposure compensation up too high, or if you have increased your exposure too much, all of that beautiful white snow will lose its detail. And I know snow doesn't have a lot of detail, but it does, right? It has a bit of a texture, it has a sparkle. So if you increase your exposure, or if you use this method to get whiter snow, you may cause a problem with blowing out your highlights. That's what that's called. So to check that, you could check your histogram on your camera as you're taking the picture. If your whites have all gone straight off the right hand side of the histogram, then you know that you're blowing out your highlights. But if it's still your graph is still within the boundaries of the edges, then you should be okay. Now, this is a very effective way to compensate for snow, for the gray camera process that it does, but I prefer to actually just shoot it the way that the camera shoots it, and I know it's going to be a little bit darker, but then I just fix it up in post-processing, meaning when I'm editing the photo after. Now I shoot in RAW, so I'm quite comfortable doing that. I know that all of the information is going to be there for me to make adjustments. So I go into my editing program and then I make adjustments there. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. But first, I want to go back to the comments, and then I just want to talk about gear and just making sure that you take care of your gear while you're out in the snow. Oh my goodness, Gary, thank you so much for the super chat. Gary Bubar says, thank you for all the info that you share. And I'm really touched, Gary. Thank you very, very much. That is so nice. And it is my pleasure. I mean, the whole reason that I do this is because of you guys. You encourage me, and you are so positive, and you're so amazing. I'm just I'm so grateful. Thank you, Gary. So shall we talk about gear? Okay. So winter gear. Snow has two properties that make it bad for your gear. It's cold and it's wet. So it's really important that you take care of your gear. When I am out shooting in a snowy landscape, there are a couple of things that I do. One, if it's actively snowing, I make sure to always put a lens hood on my lens. And I mean, it's just such a simple thing, but it keeps a lot of the snow from actually hitting the lens and causing spots all over my my image. So I love shooting with a long lens because the lens hood is like massive and no snow can get in there. But if you're shooting with a wide lens, it's okay. You have a smaller lens hood, but it's really helpful. So that's one thing I always have. And if it is actively snowing, then I use a rain cover. And these ones are really cheap. They are rain sleeves by Optech USA. I like them because you can see right through them. There's like a little hole there so that you can look through your viewfinder. It's not a perfect solution. It is difficult to still work the controls and all of that, but it works. So rain sleeves, and it protects your camera. And you know what? Even if you have a weather sealed camera, I'm probably always going to use one of these because it just makes me feel better. So I have the lens hood on and the rain sleeve, and it just ties up around the front of the lens. And that is usually enough. Oh, and I always make sure that I have a microfiber cloth or a chamois in my pocket so that I can keep cleaning off the lens or cleaning off other parts of the camera that are getting wet and hopefully not foggy, but sometimes that happens. So I have my cloth in there and I clean it up. And then when I'm coming inside, so I'm going from a cold environment to a warm environment, and usually going from outside to the car, my car has gotten cold, it's not really too much of an issue. But when I'm coming inside a building, it's very possible for the glass and the surfaces of your camera, even on the inside, to develop condensation. And hi Andrew, hi Silver Paw Studio, hi Bjorn. Oh, that's so cool. I love it. I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay, so you know that when you're outside, if you wear glasses and you walk inside, and it's your glasses will fog up and you can't see for a little while. Well, that is what happens inside your camera. Okay, so the movement from the cold to the warm can cause condensation. The problem is it's inside your camera and it can't escape. It can damage your camera. Oh my goodness, Steve, thank you so much, Steve. Steve has said, thanks for motivating me to shoot in the cold and the snow. And I am so, thank you so much for your super chat, Steve. That is so touching. And you know what? It really is amazing to me that you guys find my videos motivating to you. And that is like the most incredible and most wonderful thing that you guys ever tell me is when I've made a difference for you. So thank you so much, and I'm so glad. And Mark, hi Mark. All right, so we're talking about condensation, guys, and how to avoid getting moisture inside your camera and inside your lens when you go from a cold to a warm environment. And it's a very simple thing, but these just Ziploc or plastic bags that seal are the way to go. So I'm filming with my camera, so I can't show you, but before I get out of the cold, I put my camera into the plastic bag and I seal it, okay? And then I put that into my camera bag. And what that does is that it allows your camera that is nicely sealed inside the bag, and putting it inside your camera bag as well is a bonus. It lets it warm up much more slowly. So over hours, I don't even take it out of the bag for a few hours. And that should help to protect your gear from condensation and the dangers of winter. The only thing is I cannot wait hours to look at my photographs. So before you put it in the bag, make sure you take the SD card out so that you can load them up on your computer and look at your exciting pictures. Oh, John, thank you so much. He says it's your infectious enthusiasm. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's so hard not to be enthusiastic about photography and going outside and doing all this. I mean, it's just, there's nothing better, right? Thank you. All right, so let's head over to the editing, okay? All right, so I hope you can still see me. I am going to move myself down a bit. Okay, so this is one of the images that I took when John and I were out on our snow adventure. Now you can see right away when you're looking at it that there are footprints and it's too dark. You can also see there's a vignette around the outside, which is a darker ring. Now the reason that there's a vignette is because if you look in the corner here, you can see the settings that I used to take this picture. So it was 1/125th of a second. I didn't want the shutter speed to be too slow, otherwise the snow would streak and look like rain. And it was f4.5, and the f4.5 is what did this vignette. And the reason I had it so low is because I wanted a wide aperture and I focused on the gazebo. So that meant that the footprints in the foreground probably wouldn't be as in focus. And you can still see them, but it's a little bit softer than if I had done, f11 or f22, something like that. So that's why I took it at f4.5, ISO 125. And so I'm just gonna fix this up, and I just want to go over to the questions here. Margaret Ann asked if I ever add those silicone gel packets to the Ziploc or the camera bag. You can. I actually do add them to my camera bag. I just, whenever I get a new one with a product or something, I just kind of plop it into one of the pockets in the camera bag. They absorb moisture and it can't hurt. So, oh, thank you, John. He likes this picture. He said it was one of his favorites from my last shoot. I appreciate that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is deal with the vignette because it's really, really easy. So I'm in Lightroom here, and on the right-hand side here, there are sliders. And if you scroll down a bit, you get to lens corrections, and the easiest way to remove this is to click on enable profile corrections. So when I do that, you can see that actually the image is corrected there. Now I do still see a little bit of dark, so I can pull up the vignetting even more until I'm satisfied with it. So really simple. The Lightroom program has built-in profiles for different lenses, and when you click on enable profile corrections, it detects which lens was used to take this image, and it applies the corrections to it. If the lens is not recognized, you can still manually work with the distortion and the vignetting. The distortion is let's see if you can see too much here. It's, if you look at the trees on the outside, you can see how they're moving in and out, and that's just, it's fixing the distortion that the lens might have made. I'm going to leave it right there at the 100, which is where it was default for this lens. All right, so we fixed the vignette. Now we have the footprints and the fact that it is not white. It's gray. It's not quite the color that I want. So I'm going to go back up to the top. Two easy ways to increase the brightness of your snow. You can either increase the exposure, which is your first slider right here. Okay, and if you do that, you're going to find that everything is brightened in the image. Okay, so that's one way. Double click to set it back to 0. or you can increase your whites, okay? And if you increase the whites, your shadows and your darks actually don't get as affected. So yeah, I kind of like that for this picture just because I like the darker trees and gazebo to show like the contrast between them. But once again, here's the exposure. Look at the trees and the whites. Okay, so hello, Paul. I just want to say hi, Paul. Okay, so you can increase that, and then your whites are pretty good again. So just go by how you feel you want the image to look. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, this day was actually quite a dark day, and it was kind of a blue day, so that's okay. Now, the other thing you can do is up at the top here, you have your white balance. Okay, that's what WB is. And this picture is a little bit blue. Snow will tend to come out blue on your camera, on your images, most of the time. So you could take this temperature slider and increase the yellows a little bit. Okay. I'm not going to do that too much because, like I said, it was blue out there and I was fine with it, but that is something else that you can do. What you want to just make sure of when you are, see if I'm increasing my whites here, up at the top you can see I have my histogram visible. This over here on the right is all of my whites in the image. If I increase the whites so much that this little triangle lights up, that's when I know that I've lost detail in the snow. Okay, so I want to make sure not to do that. Maybe you do want to do that, I'm not sure, but for me, I don't want to actually lose image information. So I can probably go up all the way to here without losing major detail, but I'm going to leave it around here. I can still see the footprints and I want to take care of those. Okay, so over to the comments. Oh, hi, Lisa again. This is great, Rachel. Thanks, she says. I'm glad that you like it. And Elwyn, thank you. She loved the video with John and I. and PhotoZoo. Hi, guys. This is great. All right, so I'm going to go into Photoshop, and usually the way that I work is on my film strip here on the bottom. I right click on the picture, I go edit in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so it's going to load up there for a second. All right, so I'm in Photoshop. And I have the image with the Lightroom adjustments applied, and I want to focus on the footprints. Okay, now there's two things you can do. Either in Lightroom, just work on minimizing the footprints, like maybe you don't want to actually remove the footprints, but you want to minimize them. And for that, in Lightroom, you can do a selective area, either with a graduated filter or use the brush, and you can reduce your clarity, reduce your texture, reduce your contrast, and that will minimize the look of the footprints. And that might just be all that you need or all that you desire for your image. If you actually want to eliminate them, then you have to do a little bit of work. And I like to do this kind of work in Photoshop. Hi, Teddy. Hi, Sniper. That's so great that you're here. I like to do this kind of work in Photoshop because Photoshop has tools that make it really easy. So I always start over on the right. I duplicate my background layer. So I can drag it onto the plus, or you can do Command J. So now I have the background copy, and that's just so that I have the original always available to me. Now, two easy ways to eliminate footprints in snow. The nice thing about snow is that it's all white, so it's pretty easy to work with it. One is to use the spot healing brush, and that is this little band-aid looking icon over on the left. And I increase the size of that, and that is by moving this slider up here, the size, or you can just hit the hold down the right bracket key. So I can try to just paint over the footprints that I want to eliminate, and it's going to sample from the areas around that selection, and from that determine what it should look like. So there, it's removed most of the footprints, but maybe not that well. I still have like some streaking here and a little bit here. I can go over it a few more times and see if that will help. Sometimes the bit of footprints are so simple and kind of isolated that this is going to work perfectly. It's on its own. So like over there, that's great. It just worked really, really easily. Now I'm going to undo all of that. So I'm back to my footprints. The other way, which is quite easy, and it works if you have an area of snow that is undisturbed, is you can use your clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool will take an area that you clone and put it somewhere else. So you're just basically copying image areas over top of other areas. So that is this little stamper tool over here, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to increase the size. I have this nice clear area right here, and so to sample a spot, I'm going to hold down the Option key and click. Okay, so now if I move over, I don't know if you can see that, but anywhere that I click here will start a stamp of that area. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to drag, and you're going to see there on the screen to the right, the plus shows where it's sampling from. It moves along. Okay, if I let go and start again, so there I am. I'm copying where the plus is on top of the area I'm dragging over. Now over here is a bit lighter white than where it was copying there, so I might want to Option click again, and oh, hang on. There, okay, my camera froze up. So I might want to Option click again and paint from this area because it's a closer match. So there, you can see clone stamp tool to get rid of footprints, and the spot healing brush tool to get rid of footprints. So I'm just going to check the comments here. I'm sorry if I missed a question or anything. I'm going to I'm going to see. Tim Day said, I keep asking, but Rachel won't share it. Oh, the snow. He wants me to share the snow. Sorry, it's all mine. Oh, good morning, Barbara. Oh, good afternoon to you. For us here, it's still morning. My sons are still sleeping, so it's nice and quiet. And yeah, hi, Peter from South Africa. Hi. I know your name's C. Baker, but I don't want to say it because I don't know if you guys put your names like that so that you can remain anonymous. So hi, C. Baker. I'm so glad you're here. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions or oh, okay, so my updates. Tomorrow I have a video coming out. I went down to the beach and I took a video. The waves were crashing. It was like crazy, but I'm gonna look a little bit funny because I hurt my ankle. I was 2 days ago on my treadmill. I thought, oh, I'm gonna get some exercise, and I went on my treadmill, and all of a sudden I got this sharp pain, and I thought, oh, I knew it. Exercise is just not nice. Just kidding. I love it, but unfortunately I hurt my foot, so I'm hobbling around, and I'll probably head over to the doctor's after this. My one-to-one workshops, I just want to let you know Well, thank you, Mike. He said he likes my pick. Thank you. I just want to let you know that the one-to-one workshops are they're in full swing now. They're really working. I'm going to add some more availability times, and I still have it at $49, which is 50% off, because I just love it so much. I want to be able to meet with you. It is kind of just like this live stream, except that I can see you, you can see me, we can talk, I can help you with whatever photography or videography subjects you want to talk about, and we can screen share and all of that. So yeah, it's going really well, and I would love to have you join me. If you go to my website and just click at the top, I have one-to-one sessions, and yeah, so those are available. I'm going to leave them at $49 for an hour for now, for quite a while, because I love it so much, and I'm going to add some new times. And also thanks, Teddy. Oh, thank you. Have a good day. And also Tim Day and I are going to be running a workshop in the springtime, and it's coming up soon. It's going to be the end of May, and we are going to do the Hamilton waterfalls, all the different areas that you've seen me shooting at. We're going to go there and we are going to experience them. Hamilton is called the City of Waterfalls, and it is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to do that. We're also going to go to Niagara Falls. It's going to be a whole weekend with Tim and I just focusing on you guys, and John's going to be there as well. He is going to drive us around, and yeah, so I hope that you can join us. Watch on my website. It is not posted yet, but it's going to be posted really, really soon. And I'm really excited, and I hope that I'll get to meet some of you there. So hello, everybody. Anders and Graham asks if I've always used Lightroom and Photoshop. I have actually started working with Photoshop about 20 years ago, and I have tried a few other editing programs, and they were pretty good. Oh, actually, that's not true. I used Corel for quite some time. Corel, oh, I forget what it's called now, but it's the Corel photo editing suite, and you know what? It was good. And there's another one that the thing with Adobe is that it's expensive, right? Like it's you have to subscribe and you have to pay monthly, but yeah, the other photo editing programs have come a long way too. So thanks, Graham, and thank you to all of you. Baikhan, I don't know how to say your name. Hello, from Hungary, and yeah, John, I'm so glad that you just subscribed to Tim's YouTube channel. It's awesome. He's really, really good. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will schedule another live stream for next week soon. Okay? Bye. Thanks for coming along.